The personal statement mania continues. In this video, I'm going to go line by line through Christian's rough draft and point out how to catch spelling errors, revising, and spot things that don't quite make sense. And the more that you do this, the easier this will become for you to do with your own work. Hi, you guys. So right now I'm going to read through Christian's essay and sort of comment on it. I hope that this is helpful. If it's not, you don't have to keep watching. Ever since I was a little kid, I have always had a sense of wanting anything and everything imaginative and realistic. We got a lot of repeating words there, right? Like ever since I had a sense of wanting anything and everything. It's not a bad introduction, but it also doesn't get to the point immediately. Remember, we only have 650 words to express why this college admissions officer should let you in. And you don't want to waste it. You want to start it off right away, especially because that officer, all they're doing all day is reading personal statements. So they're going to appreciate somebody who can just get to the point right away. But the hardest part of doing that is editing. You want to come back to your first paragraph after you already know what you're going to say. And then you want to write your intro sentence somewhere along that line. I usually write mine last because it's the most important. So you want to spend some time on it. And that's just the tedious part. So if you spend any time revising, make sure it's that first paragraph because they're going to skim the rest. But we'll talk about that later. So he goes into, this is where he introduces the Lego Power Miners set. I really like this. And I think this is where I'm like, okay, we've got something good to work with here. But then he sort of, from that on, that urge to want everything. So he's getting better at the transition of I collect Legos to I collect clubs and activities and extracurricular events for my education. And that connection is almost there, but it still feels a little wordy and clunky. So I would try to trim down this first paragraph and just leave in the essentials. And finding and knowing what's essential is the hardest part. So let's look at his second paragraph as an example and as I read this, think about what Christian needs to leave in and what he needs to say in order to talk about his love of Legos and how he collects them and how that has led him to pursue diverse experiences and activities that will make him like a great fit for college. So after I learned from those what I learned from those experiences, and he's talking about the clubs that he attended in middle school, is that my greed needed to be stopped to some extent. After I graduated from middle school and moved to high school, I had to find new opportunities to satisfy my greed. I like how Christian is using the word greed here, but we have to know our audience, and just any slight chance that you're going to come across in a bad light, you want to avoid. So I'm going to tell him to cut it. So in mid-2016, I got obsessed with professional wrestling, especially WWE. I started watching wrestling religiously to the point where I was talking about it too much at school. At this time, I found out I could buy action figures that were based on the wrestlers that I saw on TV. Of course, with that greedy mindset, I bought mostly all of my favorite wrestlers to the point where I had over 100 of them. Collecting figures and school have closely affected my life, in which I like collecting figures and also want to collect opportunities in school. In my high school, I signed up for a lot of music club and student council. Unfortunately, they didn't offer many clubs that I liked, so I decided to venture outside of my high school and look what programs some colleges were offering. Okay, so first of all, we've got a lot of ideas going on, and typically you want one paragraph, one idea. And so right away, where does he switch? Where does it start? It's like he talks about wrestling figures, and then all of a sudden, he sort of transitions to this sentence of collecting figures in school and made me want to collect stuff. It doesn't quite fit, right? It's a little disjointed. So I'm just going to go ahead and press, and just separate it. So now we've got this. And as I was reading it, other than the greedy word, I'm like, what does it matter that he's collecting wrestling figures? I mean, obviously it does show off that he's a collector, but it's kind of distracting, right? Because you get all excited about that Lego Power Miner set in the first paragraph, and then he doesn't really tell us about it, right? So I am going to suggest that all of this needs to go because it doesn't serve the main point of his essay, which is Legos are awesome and so am I. So, boop, bye. And then here, so now let's look at what he has left. Collecting figures in school have closely affected my life, in which I like collecting figures and also want to collect opportunities in school. In my high school, I signed up for a music club and student council. Unfortunately, they didn't offer many clubs that I liked, so I decided to venture outside of my high school and look into what programs some colleges were offering. Throughout my high school years, I have successfully completed 3 to 4 pre-college programs at several universities. As I grew older, I attempted to look for more clubs, which will signify as a collection that would get me ready to my next stop, college. Getting accepted into college is an opportunity of a lifetime, just like collecting every single figure. Oh, okay, I see where he's going with the wrestling, but still. By getting accepted into college that I have wanted to go to feels just the same as completing a collection. As by getting accepted into this college, I would have gained another collection completion. Okay, so where do we start? I'm just going to read you guys the letter or the comments that I wrote to Christian afterwards, because the reason why I'm showing you this is because I see this a lot. And so this is a common mistake, but it also means there's a solution for it and you can fix it. So hopefully this video will do that. So this is my initial feedback on Christian. Hi, Christian. This is off to a great start. I love the lighthearted feel you have, and I love how cleverly you integrate Legos into your passion for collecting experiences, aka being involved. I think next steps you should do, first paragraph. Make this only about your passion for Legos and how you wanted to collect them all. Have a punchy opening sentence that shows the reader how freaking cool that set was. I think by getting super specific about Legos and collecting them, you will prove your point better than listing all of the things you collect. Again, this is where specificity matters. And if you listen to the interview with Christian, he says the exact same thing. Second paragraph. So here are my suggestions for his second paragraph. Move the transition sentence I pointed up to the first sentence and work on further refining it. I think you need to go deep here and think about why your passion for collecting Legos relates to your passion for wanting to be involved in clubs, which is part of why they should let you into the colleges. Brainstorm a bit and mull it over. The connections and specific descriptions will come to you in this process. I like to take handwritten notes, I do. And to brainstorm to draw circles and arrows around things to connect them. But everybody has their own way of externalizing the thought process. And really, what is writing other than externalizing your thoughts? Third paragraph. Make topic sentence about Legos again. Because again, remember, you always want to connect what you introduce at the beginning of the essay with at the end. And here's why I talked about this to begin with. So, make the topic sentence about Legos again, and then directly connect it to what you are looking forward to most in college in terms of your passion for collecting experiences, and write in bolder, stronger language. Being direct like that, especially towards your target reader who has been reading personal statements all day, is there. Trust me, your reader's going to be like, this guy, at least I know what he's saying now, right? And that's the whole name of the game. You want to make your reader happy, so they let you into college. So here are my recommendations of what I think Christians should watch out for, which in general apply to a lot of you guys. So hopefully this is helpful for you as well. What to watch out for. You don't want to sound like you just collect anything and everything. Demonstrate that you approach collecting thoughtfully. For me, especially with the WWE comparison, I think what you're trying to say is that when you are interested in something, you go all the way. I'm very similar. So rather than being greedy, I would phrase it instead as eager for experiences. And once you find a passion or interest, you pursue it doggedly, which like intense, right? I keep thinking with I think keeping with Legos is a good way to demonstrate this, since the skill of set of assembling Legos can get quite complicated, meaning it's an opportunity to show off your intelligence. Rather than coming off wishy-washy, instead aim for specific aspects of your high school activities that you've approached in a similar manner to your passion for collecting Legos at all. If you're applying to nursing specifically, Aeneas, you could write about how Legos and problem solving led to your interest in X club or X activity, and then ultimately how your passion and desire to know everything about a topic will make you a great doctor, nurse, whatever you want to be, because all you need is passion and a drive to go do it. And that's true for all of us, right? You just need relentless drive and just keep going even when everybody tells you to stop. So hopefully these comments can get you thinking about what specific experiences you can use to show off your personal growth, your excellent activities list, etc. When we started, we had Christian listing a lot of his activities, but you don't need to do that in a personal statement. And what he comes up with is really good. He really takes this advice and flies with it. So in the next video, I'll show you his final product.